I'll just give it another minute. See if we get some more stragglers rolling in. Because we got some stuff to cover today.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll just share all our wisdom and knowledge in it. Only the friendly people in the audience will get it. None for anyone else. All right. Well, I will do the opener then, I guess. Can tell my brain is going slow. I stayed up till 3 a.m. basically doing towers. So everyone, please send me coffee vibes and energy. I am going to open the stage now and welcome everyone to joining us, and thank you for joining us. I want to remind everyone that the hand up icon is for you to come up on stage and ask a question. Please do. We love interacting with our community. I want to also remind everyone to not forget to post your in-game ID in our live IDs channel. And I think that's it right now. That's all my brain can say. So I'm going to hand it over to Sol because he's going to run through some of the newest released info on some of the in-game updates we're looking forward to.
Looking forward to and experiencing, it seems. So the biggest change that we discussed last week that's been implemented since our last stage has been the change in the mine system. So I think we're going to cover that for a bit and then kind of go towards some strategies there. This is going to change also, it appears, fairly soon once the AMP system that was also announced goes into play. So let's talk about first the way the mine operates in its current form. So prior to the last update, the mine system, you would have to basically search around, knock people out. The only limitation was really time. You had to gather for 30 minutes because you were under a bubble where you couldn't get hit, nor could you plunder another player. And you would build up crystals to buy in the mine store. So that has now changed by giving a limited amount of plunder times with the ability to use diamonds to purchase extra plunder times throughout the week. But instead of, I think it was 8 hours, Bug, before?
I think so, yeah, something like that. Now it's 12.
Now it's 12. But you're also limited with the amount of plunder times that you have. So currently you're allowed to utilize 3 troops to gather in the mines, and you're gathering at a much, much higher rate of crystals than we were able to in the past. So most of us, mine is a very important factor in this game because the mine store offers quite a bunch of items that are very beneficial towards upgrading stats on your account. So everything from genetic material to creature remains, right?
Ascent shells and exotic fodder for insects now?
Well, now, yes. But prior to, it was just genetic material and some of the evolution meteorite material. But now they've added insect ascent shells and fodder and exotic fodder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those were 3 big additions. And then apparently once the AMP system goes into play, they're also going to be adding a certain material that's going to be used towards upgrading the amped system. So
They say it's a mysterious crystal. It's a
Yes.
Yeah, and it'll allow us to upgrade buildings, or it'll be required to upgrade building levels as well as to upgrade evos.
Yep. So when the amp system opens up, the mine is going to change slightly. You're going to be basically currently, if you plunder a player in the mines, you get all of the crystals that they have gathered. They don't lose anything if they're plundered, and my understanding is they get knocked into the lower mine, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the regular mine that we used to have.
Yep. So the good news is that if you've been plundered and knocked out, it's not like your troops are not gathering anything. They're just gathering at a lower rate. So basically speaking, aside from not logging into the game, as long as you, with the 12-hour gathering window, you will be gathering crystals so long as you at least enter the game technically once or twice a day, right?
Yeah, I like your strategy. I've been doing that at reset. I just pull, or like right before reset, I just pull all of the gathering troops because they're just about at 24,000. And then I just, that way I'm like at reset, I got them going for 12 hours and I'll definitely be back within 12 hours.
Yeah, that's what at reset, I kind of just plunder 3 players or get into the mines, make sure that I'm gathering, and then 12 hours later, I make sure that I jump back in. There are, like I said, 8 additional plunder chances that you have, and those are good because let's say you do get knocked out, you can purchase one of those plunder chances to get back into the higher gathering mine. And remember, the protection time for you is 3 hours that you cannot be hit. I personally feel that it doesn't really matter because with the limited amount of plunder chances per day and week, I feel that most players are not going to be targeting players that are not close to the end of their gathering, because they can maximize the amount of crystals they get if they just wait for that particular player to have gathered a lot. And now it's a lot easier because when you hit the reset to go to the next mine or whatever, which is random, by the way, instead of like level by level. So with the reset feature, you can actually see how many crystals that particular player has gathered. So it makes it a lot easier.
That is so cool, man.
A player that's gathered quite a few mines.
Yeah, I do not miss clicking and unclicking and clicking and unclicking and clicking and until I can find somebody with a lot of crystals. This is really cool. You can just see it.
And so you guys know, currently 24,000 crystals is the maximum. It takes 12 hours to gather 24,000 crystals. So if you're going to like try to plunder someone, it is best, I would say, me personally, I shoot for like 22,000, 23,000 if possible, but I think like the unsafe position would be if you're at 20,000 or more, right? Like depending on how players utilize the mine and if they want to, be lazier or more aggressive, then they're going to definitely look for players that have gathered a lot. When the amp system goes into play, that's going to change. So the major change is there will be more plunder chances available both naturally and via purchase with diamonds. There's also going to be, when you plunder a player, you're only going to get half of the crystals that they're gathered, but you'll be gathering at double the rate. So what that means is, within a 12-hour period, instead of 24,000 crystals gathered, you'll be able to gather 48,000 crystals. And then if you're plundered, let's say you were close to 48,000 crystals, you would only, the person plundering would only gain 24,000 crystals. So it's cool because you're gathering at double the rate, and then when you get plundered, they're getting half the rate. It's kind of going to work out the same, with the exception of, I think there's going to be more plunder chances. So I'm kind of on the fence on how that's going to work. I think for stronger players in the game that are not knocked out as easily, I think they're going to benefit slightly because they're going to have more plunder chances, and because of that, it's going to also make it so that players may get knocked out more often. But the fact that they can use diamonds, which are going to be reduced also, the price of the plunder is going to be reduced in the cost in diamonds, but as long as you're an active player and log in multiple times a day, I don't think it's going to be a humongous change. I think you'll still be able to gather much more efficiently and gain a lot of crystals. Currently, I can tell you that all the major items in the mine store can be purchased with the crystals that you can earn over a week. So that is very good news. Again, that is going to be determined by whether or not you are active enough to make sure you're constantly gathering on the top mine, okay? Because of just the amount of crystals that you can gather there. So I don't know. And then again, I'm talking about buying out the mine store of all important items. I'm not talking resources or anything like that, but the insect material, the genetic material, what else is there that you would normally buy?
Insect materials.
It's just really genetic material and insect. Oh yeah, and the meteorite materials. So
yeah,
currently, very easily, you can buy out all of those items completely, as long as you're in the excellent crystal mine for the entire week. So not missing opportunities to, not being dormant, knocked out of the mine, or not gathering in the mine, then you should be able to fully buy out the more important items in the mine store.
Nice.
So I'm looking at chat a little bit, and this is something that I started to investigate after our backstage show that we did on Friday. Because we were testing stuff in mines. And I think one of the suggestions came from AC, who's in our audience as well. So I've started doing what you do, Soul, whereas at reset, I send out all 3 of my troops to plunder. But what I've also been doing is implementing kind of what AC does, is sometimes I send like a test troop, because I send all 3 of my troops into the excellent if I can, but I also try to plunder as high as I can. Being my pro being what I attack with on the bigger players, or the ones that I know that are bigger players, but I'll test with my mid-range troop. And if that gets defeated, then I'll roll in and grab it with my pro usually. But the thing is, we discovered is you don't lose turns if you are defeated. You can continue to try. And what I also discovered is, because I know a lot of players were frustrated with the 5-minute cooldown period.
Yeah.
So if you use a secondary troop, then you're not worrying about it. But if you actually just take your so what I've been doing is when you're changing out guards to carriers or something in a troop line, I just empty it from guards and put the guards back in, or shooters and put the shooters back in, and it resets the clock and you don't have to wait the 5-minute cooldown. That's how it's currently set.
Wait, what do you do?
So if you know how when you're changing out troops in your troop line and you just empty the line because you're putting in a different troop,
Yeah.
if you just do that right away, it considers it a new troop line that you're going with, and you don't have to do the 5-minute cooldown.
You can even.
I don't know if that'll get changed. It's a glitch right now. But yeah, like even if you just pull your troop type out and put a new troop type in, you don't have to wait.
I did it with one swap of one ant. So I just take one ant out, put the other one back in, and it resets the cooldown.
Yeah. So I did it with I tried it with troops because I was like, I want to use the current ants I have. So I thought, well, does it work with troops as it does with ants or insects or anything? So if you change one thing out or make it look like you're changing one thing out, like, so I empty all the guards out, add the guards back in, I don't have to wait the cooldown. That could change. That could be a glitch currently. I don't know. But right now you don't have to like waiting for the cooldown currently. Because I know that's a bone of contention that has frustrated a few people. So that's kind of how I've been doing it.
Yeah, I hope they leave it just like they have little secrets about the game that you can do.
Or just get rid of the cooldown altogether, especially. So like I'll use my lower troops to kind of test, and surprisingly enough, some of my like second or third marches are actually beating, like, because you don't know if you're running up against someone else's second or third march, and you don't know the level of what those marches look like. So I've been,
I lost.
You lost what?
I lost in mines on a plunder chance today.
Really?
Yeah.
With your pro?
No. It was my third unit going against the pro unit of like a big whale in the range, in the mine range, and yeah, it bounced back very hard. So I was like, had to wait 5 minutes, whatever. And then,
well, I saw some people concerned about like having to check. So I'm a lazy player. I've said it more than once on the stage. Like shiny things, lazy player. I don't want to like check. So I love that the numbers are there for me. And if it's somebody like a player that I'm like, oh, you know what, I might not beat them because I know like I've run into them before, I'll just, put my mid-range troop at them. And oftentimes I'm surprising myself with how my troops are doing. So yeah. So it's a quick little way to like currently, until they change it, not have to wait the 5 minutes and not worry that you're losing chances. So you can hit against as many times as you want currently. That could change though. Anyway, just thought I'd add that.
I mean, I don't mind having to wait 5 minutes. It wasn't that bad. I'm actually glad it happened because that way I could experience that cooldown period or whatever. It's not too bad. If it was 30-minute cooldown or something, that would suck.
But I'm an ADHD player, so if it's not in front of me, like I will walk away from mines and forget. So I like that I don't, because I will forget to resend after if I lost. So I'm like, I'm just gonna
yeah, I'd probably do
reset quick and send.
Be like, 5 minutes, I'll come back, and then forget to come back.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I love the change personally. I think it's a great addition to the game. I think that the fact that they added the insect material, because that has kind of been the stopgap, especially for free-to-play players. The amount of ascent shells that they can get are limited, so that's the stopgap in increasing the potential for upgrading insects. I mean, depending on the server range you're in, I think most players kind of get stopped at that 39 to 45 point, if I'm not mistaken. Any of you guys know?
Maybe 49.
49?
49,
okay.
It's pretty tough, yeah. Because then you have to have
because you have to have the other two
30s.
insects. Don't they have to be to 30 to get up to?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that becomes a major issue because that's a lot of ascent shells. So being able to grab those, I think ascent shells are going to be the most important item to grab in the mine store at this point, right?
Yeah.
For any player.
Oh yeah. I'm waiting to.
Well, yeah, because it's.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said yeah because it's a stopgap. Like there's always these stopgaps. You must have 2 at this level in order to level up. So, for any player, it's nice to have those extra shells.
Yeah, and going for me, like going from 79 to 80, I have to have 2 at level 60. So essentials for all that. Then the 79 to 80 jump is like 30,000 or 34,000 essentials. I'm like, wow, that is a lot of essentials for one upgrade. You know, I can't imagine like 85, 90, 100. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's and I mean, even as you get further along in developing insects, you know, it just more and more stuff. So anything that gets rid of that bypass or that stopgap in a free manner is a great improvement in my eyes. I always look forward to seeing those. So,
and I think a lot of people had been asking, or you know, complaining, or just voicing their frustrations with it, and it looks like that those voices were heard and they did something about it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So now that we've kind of covered the crystal mine, if anyone does have questions, feel free to post it in the chat or raise your hand and come up on stage, and we'll try to answer those questions as it comes to the mine. But the other big announcement with the amped system that's coming is the ability to basically utilize these mysterious crystals or other materials potentially in order to raise the building level caps as part of the amped system on various buildings that are going to be coming. We were discussing it prior to stage. I really hope that this is going to be something that is implemented in a manner that points are earned on SVS for building days. That has been a huge ask from the community for years now, especially in the older servers that have run out of buildings to improve. So I don't see why they would not do that. I think that will be the case, but obviously we're going to have to wait and see when it comes out. But you guys kind of feel that for sure is going to happen, right?
I think so, yeah. I think it would be crazy to do it otherwise, to not allow you to gain SVS points for using these mysterious crystals and upgrading your buildings. I think it's not going to be an issue. It'll be an SVS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way that it's worded too. The long-awaited building max level expansion is coming. So that sounds like, because there's always been the rumors about queen levels and all of that stuff. And for me, the way the language is written, it means that there's certain buildings that may be able to go, like, like improved as we would have just done it in early games. So I think it will be included in build day stuff for SVS.
I'm thinking the Evo fungi building is definitely going to be one of those buildings that you have to bump up from 25 to 26, 7, 8, something like that, because we're going to get some new Evo for like some new things that we'll talk about later. But usually the way that Evo building works is, in order to unlock certain trees, you have to have the Evo fungi building at a particular level sometimes. So I think that's just going to continue to be the case here, where you're going to have to get it to 26 before you're going to be able to, utilize some of these new Evos.
And I mean, really, it can be run a couple of ways, right? You could have the standard upgrade to a building like we did early days of game, where it's just used like a glimmery leaf or one of those other rare items. Or it could be a separate upgrade like we do in season, where you enhance your building, but we don't get to keep those in off season. And this seems like something that's more permanent than purely season based thing. So to me, it feels like it's going to be a system like using a rare item like the Glimmery Leaf or something to upgrade.
Yeah, I also think we're gonna have to upgrade our nests, the ant hatching nests for each troop type, if we want to hatch. I mean, I ultimately think we're gonna get T11s out of season, and then maybe a T12 in season.
Ugh, can you imagine how expensive those are going to be compared to T10s? Oh God, it'll be like a 60-day incubate
for one ant.
I don't know if they're. They have announced the whole assault soldier ants, and that they're going to be equivalent to SXIs. So that's definitely going to be one of the features of the AMP system that's coming out. But you think that they're going to increase the level of the season ants as well?
Yeah, it says in the AMP. If you click in the AMP system right within the game, it says season changes. There's going to be new season soldier ants debut with power beyond our imagination. So there's going to be stronger soldier ants in next season. Is the way I'm reading it.
And they're upgrading wild creatures as well. In that, I'll post it, but so there's some upgrades coming to that as well.
There you go. Yeah.
Because what's the point of having nodes if? Well, I guess it's for players who haven't unlocked the level of the outside. Like if it's T11s inside and outside a game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But.
Oh, I see. We're probably going to get higher than level 20 Hornets, huh?
Yep. And probably higher than level 40 geckos. Maybe like a 45 to 50. Who knows?
Ooh.
Depending on, and maybe it'll be based on season level as well. The seasons are 1 to 5 kind of rated. So.
Yeah.
But can you imagine bot levels with these mega ants?
Oh, no. Don't
Suddenly surreal wetland. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, suddenly surreal wetlands becomes a whole nother level.
A whole lot more spicy.
Yeah.
Oh, AC wrote, what if you need assault ants unlocked to access the new season ants? You never know. I mean, you have to have your T10s unlocked in order for you to enhance your season ants. So there's so many little variations until we see it that could play into this and how it will affect everyday gameplay out of season, server side and season side. Because it looks like this is going to be kind of, it's not just one or the other. It's going to change gameplay across the board in ways that we just don't know yet.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. The other thing is, I wonder if they're going to come out with a new season after, in conjunction with this that they haven't really announced. Because it is about time. Maybe a couple months early, but if you followed ants from the beginning and them coming out with Lost Island and then Barren Land and Vast Jungle and now Wetlands. Wetlands has been 4 seasons now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was about the same amount of time that Vast Jungle, 5 seasons maybe, of Vast Jungle before Wetlands was introduced. So who knows? There might be another season that comes shortly after, which introduces these new things as part of the AMP system.
Oh, yeah. Could be. Yeah, it is. That's a good point. I mean, it's been it's 6 months? So it seems to be kind of the plus or minus 6 months new season comes out. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened at all.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's super cool. I think it's sometimes hard when there's changes coming, like the caves crystal mines, I think, was challenging for people because you get used to your patterns of behavior. You log in, you do XYZ, things change, and sometimes change is hard to kind of get used to. So I think in the beginning people were a little frustrated with things, but I know now that I've had like almost a full week of being able to play around with it that I'm enjoying it very much. You kind of got to give it all time, but I like seeing the game evolve in these ways and things continue to grow and challenge us because I think it keeps like players, it retains players, it keeps things from getting stagnant. So I, for one, am really excited about some of these changes and how it's going to affect gameplay and figuring out all the patterns.
Well, I can tell you this. I mean, like, the major thing that I'm seeing from this is a lot of these updates and everything are things that the community has been asking for quite some time. So for them to implement it all in one shot is kind of refreshing. I will say that with discussions with players on my team and those in the community, these are changes that many have wished have been implemented sooner, but the fact that they're happening now is very refreshing. I think it's going to definitely improve the game a bit, but like Oreo said, that would be a great improvement. Chances of your favorite hatch.
Yeah, my hatches last. Yeah, let's not go there. Still disappointed. So. But yeah, I mean, Gus, I agree. Like, I think that there's been we've seen quite a bit of changes. Like, it feels a lot late. They've been, the changes have been more accelerated since my early game days, because I'm not like a group one, so it may feel longer for the players who've been playing that much longer. But yeah, it seems like the changes and the connection between what the community is asking for or suggesting and the changes we're seeing implemented is getting more on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one of the things, like Sol was saying, for years I've been like just unable to build. I'm on building day, and I'm like, come on, like, how am I supposed to get up the Evo tree when I can't get 9th shell on building day? Like everyone else that kind of slow built instead of speed built like me, not knowing what I was doing really. I just like, I gotta get to 25 everything, and getting a bunch of colony actions. But yeah, for years I've been wanting this, so I think so many new awesome things are coming out. Like, yeah, could they do other things? Sure, but like, let's take it like one step at a time. And this is like 5 steps at one time with all these things in the amp system. New ants, like maybe T11s, maybe T12s, maybe a new season, the crystal mine being upgraded with getting more crystals, being able to purchase new materials there that we couldn't before. I mean, it's a lot all at once. So part of me is kind of like, man, I'm glad they're phasing it in like day by day almost with these updates and things, because it's so much info to take in. Like, I really had to take not all day, but I really had to take some time of the day yesterday to really wrap my arms around, like, okay, what are all the things happening here? There's so many things happening. Like, I just was kind of focused a little bit on the mines at first. But yeah, so many things I've really, I mean, so what, if I don't hatch a particular ant, whatever, I'll just buy one. Which I'm still really impressed with the last ant that came out, that Rainbow Chaser. I don't know if you guys have been having any luck with it. Have you been testing it out anymore?
I don't think there's any need to test it out anymore. That thing is smacking all the way around. I increased my groundhog score today by like 2G. It's kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. That ant is very overpowered. But like anything, eventually they
Sure.
run their course. But
Well, but I mean, all these amp system things I'm looking at, they are kind of layered upon themselves too and interconnected in many ways. So, like, you get the new crystal in the mines that changes, and now you need this crystal to work on this evolutionary buildings and the build caps. So it's all like interconnected and leading back to, I have a point. What Soul said about potentially there being a new season. If we're getting these mega ants, like, what are we going to see in our insects and in our like orange ants levels? Like, you know what I mean? Because you can't bring out mega troops and not really start to develop and think about what's going to happen for the main characters in our
Oh,
troop lineups.
they did drop a video that on Facebook where they showed the acid ant and the flathead, which are development ants, having 4 stars, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. There's nothing in the AMP system update about that, but they just so happened to drop that video and show development ants with stars on them now.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think too, like, people don't realize how important upgrading and working on those development ants. They kind of are sort of hidden in this little back closet of where you station them. But I was, I mean, I definitely for sure have been lacking in really focusing on my development ants, because it was like, get your troops up and big. But if you build a good foundation, like your production level on a lot of your resources that you're very light on and stuff, go way up, and it makes it a lot easier to do many of the other things inside your hill. So if you're an early game player, like, don't forget about getting your development ants really situated.
Yeah,
I was told that by like in early game, very early game by my R5 at the time, who was very knowledgeable in games of this style, and he said, and he goes, push the development ants. Forget about your soldiers. Forget about building up. Push the development ants, because all of them, even the blue ants, whatever, he goes,
Yeah.
that is the most important factor, and you will eventually get way ahead of a lot of other players that spend early game focusing on like having the strongest troops and everything, because those players, yes, while they may be overpowered right now, but these types of games are marathons. They're not sprints. So if you do that, you'll be able to secure resources to help build up your hill and build up your buildings, and you'll be a lot further along when it matters. In the early game, it's not that important to be that strong, because the battle aspect of it does not really take importance until a little bit later in the game, and you want to have that good base, right?
Well, and even things like honeydew, which is super hard to come by, like, out of a lot of the resources, because you can't gather it. You can significantly increase your hill's production of that by focusing on the development ants that increase that. Like, it's a big difference. And then you won't be as thirsty for honeydew later on.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%, man. I developed all those early on, and I've never in one season run out of resources ever.
But yeah, so I was just like a little thing that came to mind, because I was like, you know what, I really I didn't do what Soul did, like, where I focused too much on the development ants. And I mean, I can enjoy leisurely going back and working on them now, but I'm like, you know what, like, those are like those minute details and tricks and tips in the game that could have made a really big difference in early style gameplay. I mean, I still got where I am, but I'm like, I took the harder road. In some ways.
Yeah, me too. Some ways. There's so many ways to develop your hill, and or things to focus on. It's very complex.
super
You know,
layered.
Another update that occurred in the game that I have not seen as big a splash on, and I think it's more so because all of us tend to be on events right now, so we're pretty focused on that. But the introduction of the Warzone channel
Oh yeah.
went into effect, and in my server, there's been a little bit of communication in that channel, not much, just kind of, hey guys, how are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Whatever. It's been a little bit lackluster. I think that'll change once we're, back on server and during a KE event, because that's when you really want to communicate with the other server that you're facing in SVS. But what has your guys' take been on that? Is it the same experience? Like not much?
Yeah, not much activity.
Talking in it.
Pretty low key.
Yeah, I agree with Bug. It's like not super active, but it also kind of happens in season. Like the first day of season, you're like everyone's chit chatting, and then as the season drags on, it gets a little bit quieter, but then has spurts of activity. But I think where that's really going to shine and come into play is when we're all back from events, and we're hanging out for those like whatever few weeks on server, waiting to see what happens. I think it's a good.
I did test something on that channel and failed horribly, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I tried to water someone that was on the other server.
Didn't work.
I think they fixed that, though, didn't they?
It went into a, like, the leaves that close up, like it's going to take you to the hill.
Yeah.
And then it just froze my whole game. And so I was like...
But I mean, I think there were a little bit of growing pains. Now I'm going to try, but there was a little bit of growing pains.
So you
with
can
watering
water people on the other server now?
I think.
Can't? Or does it say error?
Mine doesn't say error, but I'd have to find someone who needs to be watered. I'm actually checking right now. But it's, of course, you might be challenging to find someone who needs to be watered at this late in the day. It probably resets the better time to try it.
Well,
but
you can just hit a random player that chatted in it.
Like I can see in their hill. No, I can't water them. Their hill, they're so I can tap on their hill and go in and see that it needs to be watered, but I can't water them.
Oh, so you can see that their hill needs to be watered.
Yeah. But it doesn't. So I can visit their hill basically. And I can see, and I can even screenshot, I can see a picture that they need to be watered, but I can't
water them.
I mean, unless I watered them before. I don't think so, because I don't tend to water anybody. Shh.
No, but I think that the chat will be, utilized, like you said, Nim, at certain points in time more, or like Soul said, during KE. And it'll be cool to just be able to communicate with other servers, especially if you're newer in the game and thinking about like moving to another server, and you're like, hey man, those people seem really cool, like I kind of want to play with them, they're hilarious or whatever, they're my kind of people, I want to go play with them for a season or something like that. Could be useful in team alliances merging, or people finding new alliances where they fit in better, and because a lot of times you play the game for the people that you play it with as well as the game. And I find that, when I'm in an alliance where I enjoy the people there, I have a much better time playing the game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, this is a team-oriented game, right? So, having an enjoyable chat or finding like-minded players is kind of all part of this game, right? I mean, at least to me, that's one of the more important factors. The alliance I'm currently in, it's pretty quiet, but it's my style of team, right? Like a bunch of professional players that everyone's polite to each other. There's like no drama. Just everyone knows what to do, and you know, I like that style.
Yeah.
I've been on teams where it's been a little bit more rambunctious, and so that can be fun as well. I'm not saying that, but at this point in my personal game, I just kind of want to log in and do my stuff and see that the players are all think alike, and are in the same mindset on what's important, what's not important, and it's refreshing. I like the ability on this Warzone channel that if you do face a server that's within your CSC range, that it is a potential to meet other players that may want to CSC into your server and your alliance. So that's always been one of my biggest complaints when it comes to this game, that if I was in a quote unquote younger server facing much older servers during season events, and I really dislike the fact that we would be the only young server because our team might have been a little stronger or whatever, and we were facing these older teams in events, and then the next time a season and we signed up, now we were facing the same teams in these older servers, but lo and behold, many of the players that were on one team or another merged into making a bigger, stronger team. So it just was like, this sucks, because we're the only young server facing all these older servers, and the older servers were able to recruit among each other in the season, and then the next season they would build these stronger teams and stronger teams and stronger teams. And so it was like, I always felt that if you can match in an event, you should be able to CSC within that range, because you may find players that may not be happy in their teams and they would have joined your team or whatever may be the case. So I think this Warzone channel kind of brings that in a little bit, because now you have the ability to chat and find potential players from other teams that may be like, I'll 2 weeks of being an SVS against each other, now that they have the opportunity to get to know you a little bit, and maybe teams can use that for recruiting or getting to know other players before they who may be looking for a new home or something along those lines. So, because let's face it, not everybody uses Discord, not everybody uses social media or whatever may be the case. So I still think the best way to communicate in game and actually get to know that you're talking to the actual person of that account, because it's just, I like that a lot. I think communicating in the game, or opening any type of communication channels in the game, kind of helps everyone in the community a little bit better, because they can know who they're talking to as far as an account is concerned, not necessarily it's a little bit harder on some of the other social media channels, making sure people are being truthful and whatnot.
Yeah, so. Totally. Being able to see somebody's style of gameplay, rather than just because if you recruit, on a heavy fighting style alliance, you're like, okay, what are your soldier defeats, what are your heals look like, it might be, but when you see someone in action, you go like, oh, okay, that person, they're really active right now, they're fighting a lot, they're bringing it, and maybe they don't have crazy kills, but they're super active or whatever, so I think actions speak louder than words, and this will give people an opportunity to see what your game play style is like, how you communicate, verbally or written, and have a more educated decision as to whether you're a good fit for their alliance.
Oreo's got a very good point that like some countries do ban Discord. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm on 4 different social media platforms just in Ants chat groups. Okay, I mean, like, I'm even on one that's like a majority Mandarin speaking channel because the team I happen to be on is Mandarin speaking, and I had never even heard of Line before, playing this game. So, and I'm on that channel to communicate with members of my alliance and whatnot. So it's it can be a bit confusing. So having it in the game, the ability to do this in the game is kind of great. So,
don't you think it would be fun if you could just take people home with you from season? Like, be like, you can, like, hey, you want to come home with us? And you just like tag them, and he gets teleported to your server and your alliance. I think that'd be super. Or I was thinking too, because we were having this conversation, like, wouldn't it be fun if you could like vote to swap around allies, or like, you know what I mean, like switch it up mid game? So like you plan an event this way, and then suddenly there's like a ally shuffle, and so you have to like pivot mid event.
That would actually be a great idea, to be honest with you.
Like, so, but it's like a random roll of the dice, so that you like all of a sudden you're like, oh, so yeah, because it would switch up gameplay like so quickly.
Actually, it would be a perfect use of that day and a half that they settlement period on the event. Like the last day and a half, you have the ability to be recruited into another team.
Yeah, like make it like a recruitment period or something. So like there's that window of time. I don't know, just these little things where I'm like, I always have these random thoughts in my head. But I was gonna say too, like, I'm a big proponent in this game. It's why we started doing backstage, of connecting with players and community and having conversations, because as much as we like analyze information and share our own game experience, there's so much you learn from just dialogue with multiple players. Like, there's tons of stuff, like for instance, backstage with AC making that comment about how he was running his mines, and our conversation with Soul about how he was running his mines. And then you can tweak it to how you play. Like, no 2 players do it exactly the same, and I love that like sort of exchange of information and what suits you, because your hill, it's like your favorite pair of shoes. You slip into it and you get it, you tweak it to how you want it to feel. So I think it's so important, like with the Warzone communication, because it's fun to like be able to speak to the players that you're hitting or playing against, or because there's like the fun banter that you can have, the spicy banter that you can enjoy in a healthy way when you're in Warzone 2, and that adds a whole other layer to the gameplay experience,
Yeah. Stop
I mean,
zeroing
I love that idea, because here's the thing, like, players get more or less active, throughout their quote unquote careers in this game, right? So if you are facing another team and you see a player on your opponent's side, or even in your allies' side or whatever, that's very active during the game or whatever, and that's what your team is seeking, then that would be a great opportunity. But I mean, like, currently it's very hard, because with the CSC ranges being as limited as they are, I don't think, I'm just going to go look here real quick, but there is no one in my event that is in our CSC range. None of our allies, none of our opponents are eligible to CSC in our range.
Just disappointing. Like, it's like, because like, it's the whole thing about building community is finding like-minded players that suit your style of gameplay, And there's so many opportunities of people out there that you may never get the chance to experience outside of season. Because being in season and being in an alliance are two different things. Like, it's, you know what I mean, with your allies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I hope that they think about changing that option.
Actually, interestingly enough, on my personal event, 2 teams that are allies with us are eligible to CSC within the range of 2 teams on our opponent's side, but obviously not with each other. So one team is in the same CSC range as an opponent, and the other team is in the same CSC range as another of the opponents. But our team cannot CSC into any of the other teams, and one of our opponents cannot CSC into any of the other ones as well. So it's, and I feel that that's probably the case in a lot of the matches now. Just how the pool has opened up because of the fact that all servers can get matched again, in any, like, everything's lined up now, right? The seasons all play at the same time. So
I wonder if this new Evo system and buildings will alter the dynamic with matchmaking, right? Criteria wise?
Possibly.
I would assume.
But we'll have to wait and see.
So, I don't know what server ranges are being given access to the AMP system. I read that.
I think it's all of them.
Is it?
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Do we have any early, it's hard to say because you get a little bit disconnected. That's like one of the conversation we're having. You get disconnected on what is happening with the newer servers that are coming into play.
Yeah.
So it's a good question.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone is in like the 1400s or something like that that's listening to someone that's newer and can put it in chat. But yeah, I mean,
I do want to remind everyone, though, one more time, that if you haven't done so already, make sure that you guys go into the live ID channel that I'm posting here in live chat. If you leave your in-game ID, we can have the fairies send you out a little gift basket for joining us on stage and listening to us today as we discuss this stuff. Nice little gift package for you guys.
Oh, I might have
Go ahead, Bug. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's cool. I might have another one too. Let's see here.
Oh, are we getting into Bug's codes?
No. Ants. Okay. I just have to find it. Ants has another. You know how they have those codes that run out after a certain amount of time. Or uses. I put one up last week, so I just wanted to put one up again this week. Here it is. Save.
Bug's code going into the live chat. Free materials.
Well, it's the game's code, but Bug gets them because he watches for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on all their socials too, man. I'm like, what's going on? So yeah,
I'm going to take a minute while Bug's doing that. I'm going to just briefly talk about, we've started doing a segment. I touched on it last week and a little bit today. It's called Backstage, and they're kind of random lives where we're inviting the community to come up in a roundtable format to chit chat with us. And there's multiple reasons we're doing it now, and one of them is connecting with community, but we understand that there's a wide server range of people and players and experiences out there, and being able to connect and talk about stuff that's relevant to what's happening in your specific game is something that we would like to see the community get the opportunity to do more of. So keep your eye out for announcements for when we do these pop-up backstages. And if you're comfortable coming to listen or chit-chatting with us, please do so, because we have been enjoying doing them so far.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Bug.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like Nim was saying earlier, just having verbal dialogue about the game, what's going on, you learn so much, without, our minds collaborating together. trying to figure this out all on my own, I would be such a noob. Like, what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't
So-
find out the secret little, tricks or hacks or whatever you want to call them with like swapping out an ant and skipping the 5-minute cooldown and just little things like that.
I see
Yeah.
you, Una.
Well, and I just think too, it's key to remember that what's we're experiencing in our current servers might not be what's happening for the players in the 1400 servers, and being able to like share our knowledge across those borders or gain insight into what gameplay is going on for them. I think it's super important to build those bridges and opportunities.
Yeah.
So
Did you get
That's all.
Una? Did you get Una to sing for you on one of those backstages yet?
not yet.
Ever since you
Oh.
invited her to sing, I don't think she showed up.
Yeah, right away.
Man.
You got
You guys are missing out. She's got a beautiful voice.
Well, now you've been called out, so we're gonna have to.
one of these
Yep.
days, Oh, redeem code
Oh,
usage
look
limit.
at you, Bug. A little too late.
Hey, I try, guys. I try. Maybe it
Yeah,
came
so-
out a few days ago, so
You got to
Snooze,
keep
you
watching for
lose.
those redeem codes and grab them up quick.
yep.
Yeah.
So I think unless anyone in the audience has anything left to ask or share or any of that stuff.
You think we've got? You think this amp system's going to go into play by next stage, or part of it?
Isn't it on a 7 days or something? The last announce. I don't know.
Oh, I can check really quick.
Didn't-
I think it says on the let me just open up the game. It'll say amp system going into effect. What was it?
Maybe they will leak some more information about it. Not leak, but like share some more sneak peeks and tidbits throughout the week.
I think it will be by next stage. Like last count I had was 9 days, and I think that was a couple days ago. So I want to say by next Sunday we'll be in amp.
Oh, I hope so.
Amp land.
That'll be fun. Hee hee.
I mean, we already kind
Wow.
of are a little bit with the crystal mine and stuff like that. So could get even deeper if they do something just random. In the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, they've been sending out little sneak tidbits the last few weeks, I think, haven't they? Like little announcements on Instagram and stuff. So we'll have to see. But I think we're after the hour, and we've kind of reached what we can guess and chit chat about today. And I don't see any questions, so I'm going to do my little spiely rundown and then allow the rest of the people to close it off. But I'm going to remind everybody, like Soul did, to put your in-game ID in our game IDs channel so that we can get you a little something from the fairy. I also want to remind everybody that we do have a Stage Topics channel, so if there isn't something we've fully covered today or you have a question on something else, please feel free to post a topic in our channel. There's also World Suggestions and World, and that is available to put game suggestions as well, so that the developers might see it and maybe something will happen. I also want to remind everybody, because I see the wonderful Charmaine in the audience, that we do have a recruitment channel for staff, and there's some pretty amazing staff opportunities if that's where you feel drawn. So please feel free to check out the recruitment channel and see if there's a staff opportunity that might be a good fit for you. And that's the end of mine. I just want to tell everybody that I really appreciate you coming out every week and sharing your time with us. And I look forward to hanging out with you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks
Covered.
everyone for being here. Look forward to seeing you guys next week.
And Soul,
Yeah.
soothe us into goodbye.
You guys covered it all. Thank you guys for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you possibly middle of the week for a backstage. If not, we'll see you next week here on stage. Thank you guys.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
Bye.
Enjoy your Sunday.